Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to the final week of Color Theory. Peter apologizes for not being able to be here tonight. He's not feeling well, so I'm going to be filling in for him tonight and doing your final lecture. So it's kind of hard to believe that we're in the final week, but here we are, and you guys have been working hard. I've been seeing some great work from everyone, and I've been seeing some great work from the other classes on Slack. So I think you guys should all be really encouraged, and now you get to bring it all together with the final component, which is your package design. And this is really fun, and I hope you guys get really inspired by this lecture. I've got some really interesting package designs to inspire you. So just like in every week that's going to follow the same format, we have our live session tonight, and then by Thursday, you're going to share with the class in your discussion post your first of your 3 designs. In the end, you're going to be doing 3 different package designs, and you're going to be selecting the best one to use in the 3D mock-up. So you're just going to share your first one in that discussion post for a peer review. So as you get that peer review, make sure you look at it, take that constructive feedback and make necessary changes. And as you give feedback to your peers, make sure you say it in such a way that's prescriptive and not destructive, right? So it doesn't do anyone any good if you're just saying, oh, looks great, looks great, looks great, but really you're seeing something that's wrong. So in a prescriptive way, like a destructive way would be like, your colors suck, right? But a prescriptive way would be like, if you push your color contrast a little bit more, the legibility would improve. And so then people will take that advice, they'll see that you're trying to help them, and then they can make the necessary changes. So be sure to participate in that live critique. It's for your benefit. And then you're going to give a response by Friday in the critique, and then the entire package is due on Sunday. Now you're going to take the entire PDF, the InDesign file that you're going to export as a PDF, and you're going to give it a branded look. So it shouldn't take you too long to update the footer links and things like that, because they're just master pages, but you want the whole package to look cohesive when you're done. So this is an example from previous student, and you can see the 3 different designs. Again, only one is due by Thursday to be submitted for peer review, but some of you may have all of them done and submit that as well. And then she has made her own mock-up. So, but you can see that a little bit better there. So hopefully that makes sense what we're going to do this week. And if you look at her footer links and all that, you can see everything's been customly branded to her particular brand, right? It's her color scheme in the footer links and all of that. So I hope that makes sense. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. So as we begin tonight, it'd be amiss for me to start without first talking about materials. Now we're going to be designing as if we're all doing on cardboard or paperboard, right? But I do want you to know that Pantone does make different swatch kits for all the different materials out there. And a brand that uses several different materials always has a challenge because they have to try to get the colors to match, even though you can't get the same exact science from, say, for example, what's going to print on paper versus what's going to print on plastic versus what's going to print on fabric. So Pantone does the best it can to match the colors for you, but there's going to be slight little nuances. And I just wanted you to be aware of that. As you enter the field, you can know that is not an exact, perfect 100% match across materials. So why are we adding package design to the brand collateral? Well, it belongs in a color theory class. As I go through the lecture, you're going to really see a lot of color connotations. You're going to see a lot of color distinctions. And it's just really good to show this part of the marketing in your portfolio. It's not just graphic design, but it's marketing and industrial design and so forth. So as you look at these milk containers, you can see what a simple design, but how effective too, right? And how long that little drip goes down, right? So the full, like the whole milk goes all the way down versus the 2% versus the 1%, right? And the color connotation is obviously right there. So in packaging design of consumer goods, color trend awareness is an important factor in assuring a package design's color is current. So in terms of retail and packaging, obviously color is key tool for the package of the designer. The color you'll want to convey messages about the brand category, the price point, and to attract attention. Now, why is this so important? Well, studies have shown us that consumers are 70 to 80% of their purchasing decisions are made inside the store. So yes, maybe they have a grocery list, but on average, 70 to 80% of consumers will make a decision when they're in the store. And what is going to affect that decision? It's going to be visual aesthetics. It's going to be some type of appeal, right? It's going to be something that's enticing. So packaging matters a lot. It's extremely important. And it shouldn't be any surprise that color can influence our purchasing decisions, but you might be taken back at how powerful color can actually be. For example, when consumers are presented with a new product, they tend to make decisions on the product rather quickly. How quickly do you think they make decisions? A couple minutes, 90 seconds, 5 minutes, 3 seconds? Okay, it's within 90 seconds. And the single most important component in that decision is color. Color accounts for roughly 90% of the initial judgment. So when you look at brands like Apple and they come out with all the different color phones, or you look at KitchenAid and they come out with all the different color mixers so that anybody who has any type of kitchen can get it to match, right? Color is very important, okay? So what are the roles of packaging? Well, packaging serves to protect, to contain, obviously, to protect, preserve, communicate, and to promote. So obviously to contain the product, right, you want to be able to consume it. It needs to be distributed. We need to know like what is the net weight, all of that stuff. In terms of protecting it, foods are and different things are shipped through the transportation process has a lot of vibration, so you want to make sure it's protected during all that shock. And then you want to preserve it, right? You want to extend the shelf life. You want to preserve it from microorganisms and different things like that that could contaminate it, moisture and what have you. But then we get to our part, right, as graphic designers. And this is our part where we get to communicate. We get to allow consumers to identify and recognize the brand of the product and display. And then we get to promote it. We get to draw attention to its appeal and influence their decisions. So those are the roles of package design. But it's not that easy. Package design is a big paradox, and that is because you want to match the category space that your product belongs in, but at the same time, you want to distinguish yourself and stand out. So how can that be done, right, is the big question, right? So you want to make sure you look the part, but at the same time, how can you stand out? Think for a minute of all the hundreds and thousands of products that are on a shelf, and you're just given a little bit of space. What is going to make your product stand out from the competition, but at the same time still fit the category? So this is a chocolate called Moonstruck. And what is your immediate reaction as you see this brand? Feel free to unmute yourself or type your response. Either one is totally fine.
I would say maybe fancy, elegant.
Okay. So is it like a $1 chocolate bar or maybe like a $5 chocolate bar?
$5 for sure.
Yeah. So
it looks kind of expensive.
It looks expensive? Okay, premium. Right. So even though you've got these colors that are used, such as blue and red and orange, is it messing with the flavor cues of the chocolate?
I think so.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah.
So I think because we have this wonderful embossed man playing like a flute, I'm going to guess, on the moon, and it's sticking out, and it's in that chocolate flavor. It's just chocolate color. It looks so rich. I think that it doesn't so much mess with the flavor cues as much as other things might potentially. I think it allows the illustrator to really use color to its full potential. So for example, the blue doesn't have to be blueberry flavor, right? Or the orange doesn't necessarily have to be like orange chocolate. The colors can just be distinctive without having to be a flavor cue. Now, if it can match the flavor cue, that's even better. But these illustrations, I think, are just absolutely wonderful, and consumers love them too. So that's just something, right? So the paradox, again, is to match the category space, but to stand out and be different. So here is an example of these sriracha sauces, and they're in these little medical containers. And if you saw them on the shelf, they would probably attract and draw interest because they're not like other sauces that you normally see, right? In these little metal containers with, you know. So you can see that they've done these wonderful patterns. If you look at the ginger sauce, you'll actually see ginger drawn on there. If you look at the chili hot sauce, you'll see chili peppers, so etc. So this is an example of, you know, fitting the category space, but being different, right? Now, Design Force put together this list, and Design Force is a company that works with major brands like Procter & Gamble, and I'm sorry, I'm just reading Ryan's comment. He's saying, let me go back because this is too funny. He's saying that it looks like turpentine. So he's obviously an oil painter, and I agree, it's a very similar, but I think these are much smaller. You're not getting a sense of scale. But for those of you who paint in oil, you'll probably laugh at that comment too. Okay. So Design Force Inc. put together this list. They work with major brands like Procter & Gamble and Lever. And they say this is what you need to consider before executing a design and color choices in packaging. You need to know what the brand stands for. And lucky for you guys, Peter has already written your design briefs. So you already know what your brand stands for. Then you need to know your consumer, your customer, and you already know that because you did your personas, right, in one of the first pages in your PDF book. And then you want to know what about the brand, the color included, the prompts, the buy responses, the targeted consumer. And then when packaging products for a global audience, what meanings are ascribed to the colors used and how should they be modified? Something to consider here, excuse me, is how much color does change connotationally based off of brand. So when you see a brand that's global, a lot of times you'll see a brand that uses a lot of colors in the logo. And the reason for that is they don't want to lock themselves into any one color scheme that might be a deterrent globally. Secondly, it also kind of just reflects how broad their market is and how wide the scope is. So an example of this would be how purple is considered prestigious and royal in Western cultures, but it can be considered a color of mourning and death in other cultures, right? So, you know, when Yahoo was solely purple, it wasn't really fitting it so much for a global brand. All right, continuing on with the same list, here are some other questions. Can a unique color be developed to support the brand, one that is unusual in its category? So if you can find a unique color, something that just really stands out, and just an element of surprise, that can be so effective. Or can the brand signature color be combined with another color to achieve a distinctive look and feel? And then the next question is, how does the chosen package color or color combination make the consumer respond during the testing phase, right? I can't tell you how many times I see a color, and this is just speaking from as a mother, that it just takes me back to the days of a diaper, and I'm just like, nope, I don't want anything that reminds me of that. So there's just certain greens and certain browns that I just cannot see anymore, and I'm so glad I'm out of that phase. But yeah, so that's just something to keep in mind. So consumer studies have actually shown that one of the least liked colors is fluorescent orange. So that's something else to keep in mind too. Fluorescent orange is a color that obviously is specialty printing. You're not going to see it very often, but a lot of consumers don't like fluorescent orange. All right, the last question is, if the retailer shelves a few items from the product line, how effective will it be when blocked on the shelf as set? Will it have a strong enough presence if, say, 3 items are merchandised in a particular store set from the 6 available? So here we have some jellies, right? If you only saw the 1 jelly, would it still be marketable, or do you really need 2, 3, 4, or 5, 6 flavors of the jelly brand to make it work? Now for you guys, you're only doing 1 for this class unless you're an overachiever for some reason, which is great. But so that's not so much of a concern, but that's just something to keep in mind as you proceed forward. All right, so as we move on, I have put the different examples into different categories. And our first category is enticing imagery. So here we have the redesign of Firefly drinks. And what they've done is they've marriaged really great imagery with flavor cues. So when you see the peach, it's so succulent, right? And then you see these wonderful botanicals, and it's creating a whole story. And you're probably thirsty as I say this. In fact, you'll probably go and have a snack or dinner, a second dinner, at the end of this lecture. So this is a brand, Beak Pick. And so because the brand name is Beak Pick, they use their enticing imagery to make these wonderful illustrations where they combine the fruit and these little birds. Anyone have any comments on this one?
It's so cute.
I think this looks amazing.
Yeah, pretty creative.
Very creative, yes.
All right, awesome. So we're getting, someone else is saying it's just a little bit frightening though. It's a little bit on the surreal side, yeah? Okay. All right, very creative. All right, again, just going back to enticing imagery. Here, this is a, these are ice cream bars that hit the Russian market, and they were making space for a new category, which is Oriental treats. So they've done these very eclectic Asian motifs. You'll see like the OG arches, and just almost looks like, you know, henna tattooing in the background. But then they just show you like the fruits and the flavors, just really bold. So any comments on this one? So anybody would eat this?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I probably won't eat the orange one, but it looks pretty.
Okay. I'm usually
It looks
game
really
for
lively.
almost anything. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, it looks really lively and fun. It really pops. I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that was our first category. Again, most of these products will cross over into different categories, but I just try to organize them in such a way so you could focus in on that. So we finished with enticing imagery, although we'll still see enticing imagery. And now I just want to talk a little bit about flavor cues. So flavor cues are really important with food, and this is mostly done using color. So for example, they have these cauliflower, crispy cauliflower bites, and you can see the sour cream and chives is green, the sea salt is blue, the barbecue is the brown, right? So the color is what's really pushing the flavor cue. And you can see this done on the left. We have some wines, and you can see the different, you know, from white wine to red wine, right? There's a unifying quality to the entire brand, but then you can see just the packaging, how that changes. And then on the right, we have some waters, energy waters. Again, this could be, you know, something that if it was in a piece of plastic might only be $1, but you put it in glass and now you can really charge a whole lot more. So, but again, you can see how color is being used, you know, intrigue, mango, arousal, blueberry, and curiosity, kiwi. So when you can see the product itself can be the flavor cue. So these palm drinks, right, they just use the contrasting complementary color, so to speak, to really be what's printed on the labels. Now, these waters over to the right, how many of you, when you see like a forest, would think of clean water, and how many of you would think of more swampy water? I think it all depends on where you grew up.
I think it'd be clean
Yeah.
water.
Okay, we're getting kind of both. It's kind of interesting in the news feed. Not the news feed, I mean the group chat. All right.
I think it depends on the tree, the way
Okay.
the tree looks.
So, but one of the things I really like about this packaging that I think is so unique is that you never are going to see the same scene twice. Every time you rotate it, you're going to get like this different view, and it's just kind of almost be, you know, an element of play that I'd be like, oh, you know, because I turn it this way and I see this kind of scene. I turn it and I can keep turning it. And I think for me, that would almost be something that I would hold on to, you know, rather than just throw away the bottle away and recycle it. Okay, so as we're talking about color cues, I don't want to miss the opportunity to tell you not dealing with the packaging, but the actual contents. And so back in the 90s, this started with the first Shrek movie. Heinz decided to come out with a whole line of colored ketchups. And they released the first two, which was the green, which would match the Shrek movie, and then the second one was the purple. And when they did testing, they found that these ketchups were incredibly popular, but with only one demographic, and that was children. Children didn't have built-in color connotations but adults did. For adults, green tomatoes are not ripe, and purple tomatoes are overripe and, you know, decaying. So the grown-ups were totally repulsed by these ketchups. And unfortunately for Heinz, grown-ups were the ones with the pocketbooks, and so they ended up not being successful at all. Now let's fast forward from 1990, whatever, 3 or whatever it was when Shrek came out. It was actually 2000. So yeah, we're fast forwarding 20 years. So this year, Kellogg's has come out with something a little different than Lego My Eggo, in which they've come out with this brand of cake-like looking waffles. And there's a whole line of them. This is the mermaid and this is the unicorn. And it's very popular. But again, it's only popular with a certain demographic, and that is children. So that's fine if what your target audience is children. And I think in the sense, because, you know, it's more consumable, whereas ketchup is something that the whole family uses. It's a condiment. That's part of the reason why it wasn't successful there. But for children, in a sense, yeah, you're free to make the product any color you want. But with adults, it doesn't fly. Any comments?
So the Kellogg's waffles are now or the same time that
They
the
still have
ketchup?
Lego My Eggo, but they have this new line of colored waffles. They even have like a cake version. And have you guys?
Oh, wow.
seen them?
I've never seen them, but I would tell you that based off of the colors, I would definitely go for the unicorn, and I'm a whole adult.
Well, that's okay. I personally might go for the pink one, but I would never do the blue one. Although my daughter is a mermaid, so I might buy them for her. As long as I read that they didn't have dye 40 in it. So. All right, so Brianna's just adding how important color is, and someone else is, Alicia was saying she remembers that ketchup phase. So someone else is asking, so there's red dye, I think it's 40, and it's banned in Europe. It's known to cause, as a total side note, hypertension, like in children. And as soon as like, you can see it, you give children like candy that has this red in it, and they all of a sudden they're off the charts. They're just, whew. So anyway, there's I don't know. It's banned in Europe. Maybe it should be banned here too. Okay, moving on. Our next category is illustrative examples. So if you're an illustrator, This is something really fun that you can do, and you can add a lot of personality to your graphic design pieces or your package design pieces. And so here are just a couple examples. I really love these like wanted nuts. You know, they have this whole character line like Dawn Pistachio, and you've got the, you know, the mustache and what have you. So, this is a British non-yogurt yogurt. And they have these little bandit characters always stealing. That's the way we market children, right? And then this one, Papitos. They've done something really fun because the brand is Papitos. They decided to make their package design in the pop style. So everything from the colors to, you know, the font choices to even like you can see like this halftone pattern, it's all reminiscent of pop art. So, and because, you know, the contents, you don't, you know, whenever you see chips in an aisle, right, you don't really see the contents except for like the pretzels, because chips can break and they don't really look that pretty. So you want to conceal the package of the contents inside for brands like that. So this is just fun and really creative, illustrative example. This one in Cruddy Puffs, I just want to give you a minute to just let your eyes go through each of the 4 examples, because when you look at these illustrations, they're so funny and they're so creative. And yeah, just take a minute. Let me know which one's your favorite. If anybody wants to unmute themselves and share, feel free.
The apple pie, because it's a grandma. Like, that's just classic.
I think the apple pie because it has the word tasty hidden in the apple slices. Like it forms the word.
Oh, I didn't see that. What a great eye you have.
Yeah, me either. I think I like the Sicilian pizza one. I think those are little cheese puffs, but they're helping with like the pizza.
Yeah, these puffs are like little helpers with the chef. I think the sizzling sriracha is funny too, because they just, the little facial expressions on the puffs is pretty funny. I don't know how well you guys can see that.
He looks like a madman.
Yeah.
Puffs are being thrown away from the fire.
Okay. All right. Okay, our next category is using repetition and patterns. So it's kind of a popular thing right now to have a repeated pattern either on the sides or just part of the packaging itself. Now, when we look at this package on the left, it's definitely just, you know, repeated elements, but we have a cohesive, unified color scheme. I bring this up as an example because students sometimes have a hard time figuring out where the illustration should go, and then they decide to do a watermark. Promise me you won't do a watermark. That was so like 1993, okay? We are like 30 years past that. We don't do watermarks anymore. They don't look good. Please don't do a watermark. But here you can see, like, you know, I got this.
Do you have an example of what a watermark looks like on a packaging?
No, because it's bad. It's like when they do.
Okay, I was like, I can't figure out what it was.
Okay, you know, like when you see like people are trying to make it work and they realize that the text doesn't have enough color contrast. Like, you know, I know what I'll do. I'll just lower the opacity of my image. And what it does is it makes the whole composition look crowded and busy. And then you lose your color scheme because now you've done an opacity as opposed to the actual colors. So yeah, just here you can see this is really thoughtful and it just blends in so cohesively, right? The Gestalt principle of, I don't want to say reification, but maybe just closure in a sense, that you can see the border, but at the same time, it just blends in. And, you know, you can still have the beautiful patterning in the background. It works really well. In terms of other patterning and repeated elements, right, just these dots of the strawberry were then taken as a motif and then used throughout. And, you know, just overall, just unifies the whole thing. So these are teas. And again, tea is a big category with a lot of different ways of packaging. So it's always a competition and how to stand out from the competition, but how to be part of the brand. You'll see everything from enticing imagery of the actual product, like ginger and tea leaves and things like that, to like telling a whole brand story where maybe you'll see pictures of Asia or India or wherever the tea leaves might have come from. And this is just an example of using patterning. But you know, it's very hip right now. To me, at the same time, it also looks no different than like stationery. So somebody said I just killed their design. I'm sorry, but at least it's not too late for you to fix it, right? So, and just think, I just saved your design. I didn't kill it. Okay. So here we have these popsicles, and they've used nice blocks, right? They've used these patterning to kind of give you a little bit of the flavor cue. So like the cola one looks a little bit like fizz, and the lemonade ice block, you know, looks like shards of ice. So here in this peanut brittle, they've done the patterning on the side. And this is really good, like when you have one of these type of packages where you don't want to put content, like nothing you want to read on the side because of the way that folds in, but a pattern is perfect for something like that. And this is a brand of coffee, and they've done these distinctive patterns based off of the different regions. So like the Dominican Republic has these whales, and then Brazil has the, you know, the figure, and it's all kind of in the same colors as the Brazilian flag. So, all right. So this is an example. This is a Russian brand called Mama Mafia, and they specialize in everything from hamburgers to sushi. So everybody can eat there and be happy, right? It's a, you know, fast food takeout concept. It's really supposed to be a play off of like Mama's Cooking, right? Mama Mafia. But you can see this great illustrations, iconic style, right? Like 1950s, and then that's used as a patterning. Any comments?
It's really cute how they drew that all together. Like all the different pieces kind of build up to show how unique their menu is.
Right, I agree. So this is a little bit more of the brand. And the pizza box. So why wouldn't you have a baseball bat with a pizza, right? That makes sense for Mama Mafia. All right.
I like how they have, like, you can use either one of the characters as the forefront of whatever packaging.
Right. That you can really play along with it, right? So they got a lot of different options here. So these fun little characters, I agree. This is funny here, isn't it? Like this jackpot, you know? Okay, our next category is what I like to call collectible art, and this is something that's more popular during special events. So you can see, for example, the Beijing Olympics, Coca-Cola came out like unique one-of-a-kind bottles that were limited edition. But yeah, anybody ever find a bottle and they thought it was so cool they kept it?
Sometimes I specifically buy alcohol if the bottle is cool. Just to try it out, and I keep them.
Yeah, Abigail's sharing that she does Arizona tea. Yeah. So these cans are a bit fun too, and that you can mix and match them and create different faces. So Alicia was sharing that her mom has old Pepsi bottles. I have a little collection of bottles too myself, not too big, but you know. Does anybody else want to beard up? Now, the next category is beauty products, and I don't normally take a whole category and separate it, but the thing about beauty products is so different from the rest of packaging, and some of you have selected beauty products that I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about them. And that being that it's a different way of marketing, because in for food, you're kind of appealing to a brand story, you're appealing to the sense of taste, right? You're just cleverness. There's just different ways of marketing about the packaging. When you come to beauty, you're really going for youthfulness and smell. So as opposed to, going for the, the sense of taste, now you're going for the sense of smell. So that's why you're going to see a lot of nature elements, leaves, botanicals, a lot of white space. And again, white space doesn't have to be white. It just is negative space in the beauty products category, right? And it's almost like it's something that should be able to sit on your bathroom counter and not be obtrusive, right? Something that could just fit in and almost look like it belongs. So here, you can see like some anti-aging creams and stuff like that. And again, just good visual hierarchy is important, so the eye has good flow. And this is a beautiful example of a mock-up too. We're going to talk about mock-ups here in a little bit. Here they've used some iridescence. And this is a sunscreen. What do you think the target audience is here?
Kids.
Children or parents with young children.
Right. So do you think it might be a little bit easier to put this on your children than, some of the other ones, because it just looks like them. It looks fun, it's happy, friendly, etc. And this is a new brand coming out by Gillette, in which they're experimenting with razors for both men and women. So instead of, having your Venus, that you pay extra money for, even though it's the same razor as a man, or your, I don't buy razors a whole lot, the men's brands, right? Fusion, I don't know, whatever. Now you have one for everybody. And you can see like the razors themselves are white. So it's not like they look masculine or feminine. They're just very neutral. And you're not even supposed to, the figure itself is blue, and you just kind of go with it. So any thoughts on this one? Do you think it's going to be a success? Has anyone seen it yet?
I haven't seen it, but I would definitely try it.
Why is the hand white? Like the body's blue, but why is the hand white?
I don't know. I'd be able to see it if it was all blue still.
Oh, okay. Like maybe a darker blue, but it just makes it look like there's some kind of person that's shaving them for them.
Like, happy looking at it.
But what?
All right, well, that brand is called Happy. We'll see how it goes for them. All right, this is a Brazilian brand, and I just put it in to just show you guys how different packaging can be around the world depending on the target audience. So again, it's not one size fits all, or in Western culture it might be this way, or in different culture it might be another way. So this is the thought I had it written down, but I guess I don't. But you can see there's shampoo, conditioner, and lotion on the right. And it's just supposed to be like, this even a rough sailor would be able to use this men's lotion. So do you think men would be more apt to use lotions if it was packaged this way?
No, I don't think so. They're very simple.
I don't think it appeals to men, but I'm not a man, so maybe.
Okay. All right. Okay, so our next category is just creative shapes in packaging design itself. So Kleenex has a slump in sales during the summer months because people don't have as many colds. So a few years back, they came out with these fruity, enticing, triangle shaped boxes, a nightmare for stacking on a shelf, but as a way to make people impulse buy. You're already walking down the aisle, maybe you're getting napkins, maybe you're getting toilet paper, etc. Oh, look at these cute little boxes. Yeah, I guess my bathroom could use a couple boxes of Kleenex, and then you make the impulsive buy. and then Kleenex sales go up, right? So that's the premise behind that. So, and then here you can just see, you know, the way the shape, you know, is kind of giving, you know, some enticement. It actually looks like there's aloe in there. And I think as far as this one, like the orange and the apple are the most successful because, you know, it mimics the natural shape of the fruit. But these mixture ones, it's not quite as successful. Any comments on that?
They look like gumball machines with fruit shoved in it.
Okay. All right, so this is a brand, Castor and Pollux, and they make a whole line of pet products. And here you can see that they've done a really clever shape for their shampoo. It's in the shape of a fire hydrant. And they boast that all of their products are all natural from head to tail. And the brand also uses humor in their taglines, such as "No humans were harmed in the production of this product." And then, so you know, we got creative packaging this way, but creative packaging can also be what, you know, holds the product itself. So Converse was near bankruptcy a few years back, and they decided to give it one last go, and they came out with the All-Star Chuck Taylor shoe, kind of going back to the glory days of the basketball years. And they decided to package it in this like wine crate-like box, you know, like a cedar-like box. It's supposed to be, you know, help preserve a product and so forth. And the result was very successful. And it was so successful that Nike ended up buying Converse, and they turned into a multi-billion-dollar company. And, you know, and a lot of it had to do with this really cool packaging. So our last well, we have another category coming up, but our last main category is our die cuts. And a die cut is just basically a cutout window that lets you see the product through it. So I think, you know, in terms of the bearded rope, it's successful, but how many of you really want to, someone's already writing, it's horrific. How many of you, like, when I buy my meat, I don't want to have any remembrance of the animal that, you know.
Yeah, I don't want to visualize that.
No, but it gets worse. Hold on, before you get yeah, some people like it's kind of sad, right? Even though it's in this
Oh God.
stamp like butcher like quality, it's still a little too much for me. It looks like it's a little too much for some of you guys too. I got one that's worse. Just check this one out.
I'm sorry. I just didn't
No.
expect that.
Yeah, right?
Salads for dinner, check.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, like I just can't, like, I can't have these personifications, you know, of these sirloins, and I just can't do it.
Right? Now they have personalities. Now I'm
I
coming up
know.
with names and stories. I just can't.
No. So to me, this is packaging gone wrong, but that could just be my personal opinion. Okay. Okay. So this is a foreign brand, but I think it's pretty clever in my personal opinion, and the way that packaging has been done here, and that they've taken the unique shape of the insect, and, you know, such as the dragonfly, and they matched the light bulb to the particular insect itself. So one person says they love it. So it almost seems kind of natural anyway, right? Because the insects are always attracted to the lights. So nobody wants a skinny chef, right? So this is a fun little package of pastas. Okay, our last category is our POP, and POP stands for point of purchase display. And this is typically what you would see near the cash register or the end of the cap, in which it's an impulsive buy. And these little point of purchase displays can actually add so much to the product line itself. So these Mandarin chocolates, again, really cool packaging. You can see the continuity, right? The distinctiveness. These like nut-like shapes, you know, made to look like chocolate. But in, you know, the labeling, you know, the placement of the text, the size of the text, all of that is consistent. And then here is their POP. And I really love how it's made to look like books. So it's almost like I want to get the whole set. So we're going to play a little game. We don't have much time. All right, so we're just going to play the before and after. And you guys tell me, the before is on top and the after is below in this particular example. What do you see that's changed, improved, etc.?
This one,
The color.
the color of the package.
Okay,
The negative and positive spaces have changed significantly.
right. And then so I think too, by making the window at the bottom, it makes the bag look fuller. Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Gifts don't do that because it's very deceiving.
Okay, how about this Don Julio tequila?
The shape of the bottle.
Yeah,
I think
one
they
of
had
them-
more personality with the cap on the original on the left.
okay. But I think the
Yeah.
one on the left too, like in terms of like something that a manufacturer has to consider is how many bottles can I package in a crate, and send. And so the one on the left would definitely, you wouldn't be able to fit as many. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right.
So, but
Yeah,
I
but
think,
even their font, kind of took away when they changed it.
I don't think
It
that
doesn't
cleaned
look
up.
as old and established.
But there's that ugly watermark.
Ah. But the ugly watermarks on the other one too.
It's not. It's very subtle. It's like a color change as opposed to like it's all one color as opposed to like interfering with the text.
Okay. Don't let it interfere with the text.
All right. Would you pay a difference in price for the peanuts on the left to the right?
Yeah.
Probably.
So same peanuts, right? But one of them looks like you got it, out of a vending machine. And the other one looks like maybe you got it at Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Right.
And the other one, the one on the right, is premium quality, so you automatically think it's going to be expensive or more.
Amazing how that word tricks you, huh?
Yep.
Okay, how about the water?
The one on the left looks like pool water. I would definitely,
Right?
go for a simple white and gray design over pool water.
Exactly.
What's syngas?
Okay, that's German, and in Germany, when you get your water, you say with bubbles or without bubbles.
Okay.
That's all that it means. So gas is bubbles.
Syngas.
I love.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Yeah. Okay.
It's like the Sans font.
Say that one more time, please.
The Sans font, with and without.
Mm-hmm.
Love.
So yeah. So
I'm definitely going to ask someone if they want some syngas.
Yes, please.
Oh no, I'm gonna lose it. You guys don't know that I laugh really loud. I don't make you do that. Okay. All right. The munch rates.
Well, first of all, I don't think either one of them looks appealing.
Okay.
They look like sausages, like mini chicken sausages.
Ew.
So maybe this would be a good example to use an illustration instead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that helps. I think the one on the right looks more sweeter, as opposed to the one on the left kind of looks like chips.
Looks spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how they did their logo revamp.
Mm-hmm.
The font is more legible.
All right. How about this beer?
I think the one on the right better.
I like how the greens play better.
So here
They
the
create
visual
a-
hierarchy is on India, right? Instead of
Mhm.
the actual brand name.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So that was a fun little game. Oh, my slide, when I converted to a PDF, it did something funky for this one. I'm sorry. But this is Bare Naked, and this was their original packaging, and you can see they had like bear claws over and over again. And then when they went with the redo, and again, when you do a pouch, you have to consider like when it's filled, how the the pouch is going to differ, right? How it's going to curve on the sides. In their redo, they just took the claws and made it there, and then they put the name more prominent in the middle, a lot bigger, 2 lines, and more negative space on the slides. And then now Bare Naked has just come out with their new packaging. I don't know if you guys have seen this yet, but they've gone back to just like a bear, and then I don't know if you can see inside the K is like a bear in profile. And then they have seasonal brands, and so like for the seasonal stuff, they put like a hat and a scarf,
That's so crazy. I just had some of those earlier, and I was looking at them. I was like, it's cute.
Yeah, I like the bear package. It's really cute.
Now, they're about to launch in Australia, and they decided that this packaging really only fits the US market. So this is what they're going to put in Australia.
It's so cute.
So I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of personality on those
Yeah, they
bears.
got like little bear skin on the B and the E, right? It's like little shagginess. So, and then like all of that.
So they got rid of the little bear profile in the K for Australia.
Yeah, it's weird because if you look on this like bar, it's there. So I don't know if, this is still just a mock-up phase. But you can see they have kind of a little bit of the old brand too with the claw marks. So
Oh, and there's fur on the lettering.
yeah.
Huh.
And it's like wood in the background.
Yes. Yeah, I like that texture. It's nice and subtle. All right. So going back to here's the project again. And the last thing I want to walk you guys through, we got like about 8 minutes, is just what goes on a box, and I'll give you a couple of resources. So there's many different ways to compose a 6-sided box. So just the template has been provided for you guys. So when you come to the project, you're going to choose either the pitched lid tapered side or the rectangular carry case. Either one is fine, but you're just going to choose one. You don't do both. And then the video will walk you through how to use the flat template, and then how to use the 3D template as well. Okay. And there's the rubric, and then all of the links I'm about to go over are here, so you can come back to them afterwards. All right, now, so here's an example of Sephora hair color, and you can see that this is the way they, designed their package, and how it folds up. Okay. So what are some of the main elements? You're going to include the logo, the product name, the nutrition facts if you're doing food. Obviously, if you guys have chosen a beauty product, you won't do that. You're going to include the UPC barcode, ingredients, and the net weight. Unless, of course, yours is a liquid, then you're going to include the volume instead. So those are the things that are required, as well as the company info, which will be like the phone number, the web address, the mailing address, etc. Anything else that you add can just make your brand come a little bit more alive. Some of those things will be like a product tagline, product claims, brand story, additional recipes, the recycle symbol. You may want to include the printer's mark, which is like the match proof that sometimes you see on the flap on the inside, which will have the CMYK, cyan, magenta, yellow, black, in varying percentages, and then you'll have your spot colors, your Pantone colors, your pre-mixed inks, right? So don't skip this sketching phase. So Sam is sad that the recycling symbol isn't mandatory. It's mandatory for you, okay? I just think that sketching saves you more time in the end. They don't have to be, fine sketches. You're not even having to include them. But, the more you can sketch, the more ideas you'll have, and the more time you will save in the end. Trust me on this, okay? So here is an example of the anatomy. So you can see I've taken all of those elements, and I've kind of just shown you where they're located on the product. And if you guys want to go back through this lecture, you can. I'll post it in Slack, and then the other instructors will be posting in their section soon, shortly thereafter. But if there's any slides that you're interested in, you can just Command-Shift-3 to take a screenshot of that too, okay? So here you can see like they've included the brand story. They've included some product claims about the, the products, why it's antioxidant power, sustainable energy, all this other stuff, right? And then you can see the nutrition label, the barcode, the ingredients, and then like, certifications, country of origin, all of that stuff, right?
So I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
So like the nutrition facts, how do we just make something up? Do we fill that out? Is there just like a picture we just add it on there to show like where it would go? It doesn't have to have details or specifics, I guess, because I don't think that we have those.
So one of the things that's included, really quick, right. One of the links that we've put up for you guys is, the first one is this website where you can get your barcodes. So you can choose, any type of barcode you want. So if you want, like, for example, a, I'm having just a little, I was gonna, book numbers, etc., QR codes, postal codes, whatever. So you're going to compare to UPC codes, and then you can determine how many digits you want for your products, and then you can put, whatever, whatever number scheme you want, and then just hit download. So that's how you can get your barcode. And again, the link's on FSO. As far as your like USD organic and all of those type of things, I recommend going to a website like Brands of the World or Seek Logo. And for example, here you can type in, I'm a little out of order anyway, but you can type in like for fair trade. And you can see that they have, you can limit it to, AI, EPS, SVG. Those are your main vector formats, right? But you can see you've got the international trade one and the US trade one. And again, fair trade just means that most of the money goes back to the farmers. So those of you that are doing chocolate or anything like that, those are great certifications that you can put on there. So you would just download it. When you go to download it, you want to make sure you stay away from all this other garbage that's trying to entice you, and just click the download vector button, okay? So that is that one. Now the next one was,
would you do the same thing if you have a beauty product, but it's made, let's say you wanted, I don't know, to have it with
Like
organic, yeah. Would you
so
do the same
yeah,
for that?
you can look it up, but there's certain labels that are specific to beauty products. So I would just do a little research there. I accidentally did not include the not the nutrition label, yeah, the nutrition label one. So let me just go back to FSO really quick and show you that one. So I'm reporting to my computer instead of to the cloud, so that's why the fan's going crazy on my computer now. Okay, so nutrition label. So you'll come here and you can, so if you're doing like a candy bar, you would choose this label, depending on which one you're going for, you'll choose the appropriate label. Then you can fill it, in, just make up whatever content you want, and then hit generate. And it'll give you your label that you can download and put in. Just so that everybody doesn't have the same exact label, you know what I mean? I think there's one included in the project, but if not, if you want to make your own, it's pretty simple to do, okay? And that link is there.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, so this is just an example of a bottle, right? And you can see, you know, some of the other, you know, points. And then there's a nutrition label. And then of course, the UPC barcode, I've already walked you through that. Sometimes you can just look on the back and you'll see really creative examples. It's a rare thing, but every now and then you'll see it, and it's just kind of something to delight. This particular brand, I think, does it really well because it matches the brand, right? It actually looks like, you know, Quetzalcoatl and Mesoamerican art and so forth. You do want to make sure that you have appropriate color contrast for the barcode. The barcode does have to be on white, okay? And same with the nutrition label. It needs to be able, it has to be on a very light color because it needs to, it's the FDA, and that you have ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act requirements on the color contrast and readability with that. So we already talked about the certifications. And then the last part is the mock-ups. So you can use the mock-up provided, or you can use some of your Adobe stock if your Adobe stock is working. I think it is working now. There's also a free site if you're interested. It's the Mockup World, and they do have a food category for those of you that are either doing food. And you can look at these and, you know, if you would prefer to use one of these designs, feel free, okay? All right, I'm just gonna go over 5 minutes, I'm really sorry. So these are just examples of mock-ups, and they can add so much to the thing. Now this is Indonesian water, and this kind of goes back to what I was talking about. Like, to me, this is swampy. I don't want to drink water, you know, where swans might be. It just doesn't seem clean to me, but everybody's different. So again, when you do your mock-up, if you can find imagery of, you know, that makes the product look authentic and natural, that's always great. Here they've really, you know, played to make
What
sure.
a name, Dirty Cow.
Yeah. I might try it just for
Billionaire.
fun. So we don't have time in this class, but if you guys are curious and it's something you want to learn on your own, there are ways that you can create your own packaging. Adobe Dimensions was created just for this, and they have free tutorials online. You could probably get up and running in less than an hour if you are curious about that. You can also use the bevel and extrude tool in Adobe Illustrator. And you can, you know, you basically can make your box whatever size you want and rotate it how you want, and go from there. Now, in order to map your artwork on the box in Adobe Illustrator, you have to save the artwork panel. So you would save this piece of artwork, etc., in your symbols panel. And then once you do that, you'll just hit map artwork. It'll give you options to scroll through all the artwork you saved, and then it'll map it directly on the box. It's a little different because all of the other tools, like you save patterns to your swatches panel, and you know, it's just different. But for the 3D tool in Illustrator, you save it to the symbols panel. Okay. So the last thing I'm going to show you guys is some websites for inspiration. And the first one, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on this because I am over, is just Packaging of the World. So you can come here. Oh, look, that's the same one, right? We were looking at. Boutique, or maybe it's just a brand that looks very similar. You can search by categories. So let's say that you have coffee, because some of you have coffee. You can look at, you know, different packaging around the world for coffee, and you can get some inspiration here. And then again, you can search by materials and different, you know, countries and all of that too, in different years. Penta Wars, they also have package designs, and so I'm just trying to remember. That's not where I was trying to go. I'm trying to remember where to go. That's not it. I feel like they changed the website since I was last here. But normally you can just search through the years and search by category. So I'll go back to this one. I think I've done something wrong, but let's go to the last one, which is die line. And the die line, likewise, they have this search bar at the bottom. So you can, for example, type in chocolate. And you'll see, you know, examples of chocolate, right? So these are like chocolate vitamins. Those are fun. And then sometimes you'll see some curated stories on chocolate or different things like that. So this can be a helpful resource too. So yeah, I'll have to come back to this one because I've done something different. But, all right. So do I have any questions? I hope that was all helpful for you guys. And sorry I went over. Thank you for your time. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you all come up with. So any questions? Well, I'm going to go ahead and close the archive. And if you have any questions, I'll be on for a little bit longer. But thank you guys and have a great night.
Thank you.
You're welcome.